Hey fam, remember to check the description for updates on Instagram. Check the eBay link for the Medipack, and you can also hit me up by email purplegarlic@protonmail.com and make sure you're subscribed.
Hey everybody, welcome to today's episode of the Old School Cannabis Project with myself, Smoke Cool Rich, and we're joined today by special guest Joshua over in America, Instagram handle Mr. MJ710. And welcome to the show, Joshua.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, the Instagram handle is Mr. J710. That's Mr. as you are using it correctly in English, like with the large M, small r, period, and then J710. My Instagram is pretty poppin' place to be. You guys are all more than welcome to come by and say hi.
Yeah, man, that's really why I invited you on. Because I've been following you, and seems like we're fairly similar personalities. We've got similar outlooks on certain aspects of the cannabis community and the whole thing in general, which is generally, I guess, focused around fucking Instagram these days, which is a fucking cesspit. But yeah, man, it's going to be a free flowing conversation with no particular direction. And so, welcome to the show. And yeah, tell us anything you'd like about yourself, and get into any topic you wish, bro. So I know it's going to be good.
Well, see, I'm from Washington State, which is quite a bit different from California. I know that from the lens that a lot of your listeners might have, California would seem to be the epicenter sort of cannabis culture. In America, that's not really the case on the ground here. It never has been. Where I'm from has always had a real sort of outlaw, rebel, outdoorsman culture to it. It's also had a lot of rugged pioneer types, and a lot of these guys smoked pot. And the only way to get pot, I'm sure as you remember when we were younger, was to grow it, or your buddy grew it. So Washington State has had a long history of having sort of a back seat to kind of how the rest of the world viewed America and cannabis, but sort of a front seat as far as like when guys in California need good stuff to sort of cross pollinate their gear with.
Okay.
Yeah, makes sense.
So, what's the main differences then between Washington and Cali?
Well, geographically, we're pretty far apart.
Yeah.
You guys over in Europe, the distance that Seattle is from LA is like similar to the distance outside of what's considered your continent.
Yeah.
not just a country,
Think
but
about the whole
entire continent.
span of the island.
Right. So that's kind of a big deal, the scale of the difference. Like Washington State is pretty large. It's the western part of it is the size of some small European countries. I'm sorry if you guys are able to hear it dinging. That's
No, you're
it's
good.
clear.
You're good.
perfect. But the size difference is a huge difference. With that much of a geographical location difference, there's going to be a difference. The politic is different. Our set of legal rules here is different as far as what is permissible and what's regulated as
Well,
far as the
tell
legal
me
side.
about that. What is it like in Washington currently? What are your laws regarding cannabis cultivation?
So Washington State has home growers still, since the original culture here was sort of these rebels and these outlaw outdoor guerrilla guys, and their home grower cohorts are guys that did both. When we put in medical and started pushing that in the mid 90s, I think 96 was when it passed, and then things started to really get going in the early 2000s. Those were kind of two parameters that were really important to that system. Everyone at that point that had a medical marijuana card was a home grower, and the entire system sort of existed and consists to facilitate the supply chain from home grower to market to user. I was doing my first prison sentence for cannabis related crimes and cannabis cultivation. And the current set of laws was passed around 2011, 2012. And then I was released actually from prison that time from the work release program within the same week that the laws had changed over. And so I was watching everyone at the Space Needle kind of celebrating, and I was still technically in prison watching that and like kind of, getting ribbed lightly from the guards, like, ha ha ha, dumbass, you just did 4 years for this, and now it's legal when you get out. Good luck getting a job doing that, felon. That was kind of the vibe.
Can't.
Yeah, real. Yeah, we're a few minutes in. Yeah, just real shitty cunts, I think is what you guys are calling out there, something like that. Just I love your guys' swears over there. That's one thing that people over here are immediately gonna misunderstand about you. And then I obviously on my mom's side, everyone's English, you know what I mean? So I talked to them and they set me straight right away, and they were like, oh no, this guy is he's just a good guy, and he's passionate about what he's talking about, and he's going to use, the
He's just a
colorful language.
foul-mouthed cunt.
Yeah, right. And I swear like a Marine over here, and that's a step worse than swearing like a sailor, So I got it right away, and just kind of started thinking about stuff, you know what I mean, and like how you guys talk versus how we talk, and that kind of got me onto where we started this conversation and started talking about, the differences and what things look like from each side of the pond.
Yeah. If there's big differences between states in America, there's certainly going to be big differences between America and other countries.
Well, I mean, for the weed thing, it almost would serve you guys better over there to look at us as if each state is its own country. And it's like the European Union implementing it or something like that,
Yeah. Yeah, regarding the swears, I'm actually trying to cut back a little just for my own personal good. I'm sure it doesn't make Jesus happy to hear me.
Right.
But nonetheless, a lot of people, fuck it, they deserve to be called what they are, and there's so many fucking cunts in this fucking industry. It's unreal. Or community, whatever you want to call it, the scene, the community, the cunt community, as I used to call it.
Well, I mean, hey, it was different when we were younger, right? So when I was a kid in the 90s, I could go to the store, and in the same section where the nudie mags were, there was a High Times magazine, and I could pull it out and I could read about the drunkers, or I could read some of Ed's articles. And then as a kid, you know what I mean? Like a rough kid from the streets that was a little bit nerdy and into plants, like that was a big deal, Then now things are more like you can talk to these guys as modern day equivalents, and you can talk to people who have been talking to them since the forum era, you know what I mean? And they sort of outed themselves on those. And I definitely want to talk to you quite a bit about forum. We have differences in forum culture that are huge.
I haven't been on forums for fucking ages. I wish Instagram did not exist and it was forums only, to be perfectly honest. I think Instagram destroyed the forums.
I would agree to that if they were like your guys' forums were and not like ours.
What's our guys? I'm talking like even IC Mag or something was fucking better than Instagram.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a better way to post and be vetted. It's a worse way to communicate.
Well, you know what I mean? I think forums are better for actual community,
They represent a place in the history of the cannabis community that is really unparalleled for that, and for a person to just bash forums completely would just be a ridiculous take, you know what I mean?
Well, if people were getting subjected to the same kind of thing I've experienced on Instagram, and a lot of people are seeming to be more so lately because of the algorithm or whatever, seems like everyone's been hit by the bullshit. But where I've had 53 accounts, and the majority of them are because of jealous fucking snitching twats. I mean, that is the major downside to Instagram is that any little faggot can just fucking employ somebody to get your account took down, you know?
Couldn't agree more. 100% the worst thing on Instagram. 100% the worst thing for us as
53
like
accounts, bro, and
an outlaw culture. Yeah,
many of them, many of my
insane.
accounts have been 6 to 10,000, you know? So I've reached a
It's
lot of people and
insane.
lost a lot of people.
There's definitely a committed group of people over here dedicated to the things that you want to say, getting out and disseminating amongst the American populace. There's definitely a group of people that want to stop some of my spicier opinions and takes from being laid out in general, you know? Because if you're scamming or lying or being a real asshole, those are the type of opinions that are going to really fuck up your money, you know?
What are you saying?
A lot of these guys are scammers, man, out here on
Oh,
the
yeah, yeah, yeah,
American
yeah.
cannabis weed IG, and like our opinions make them want to hit that report button on us.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. I see what you mean now. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, of course. If you don't come into the fucking scene community or whatever, sucking dick and kissing ass, then you're not going to get very far. If you come into this community saying, "Yeah, I got better genetics than all of you. I've got skunk. I brought back skunk, and fucking prove it," when all these twats couldn't do it 20 years before me. And just to point out, every skunk fucking post 2020, if you didn't have it before 2020, you got it off me. Do not pretend it fell out your granny's fucking asshole. If you didn't have skunk prior to 2020, when everyone in the world was searching for skunk, and there were fucking 200-page threads on fucking IC Mag, and every cunt crying about not having it anymore, everybody being a liar, and it being extinct, and every person bringing out seeds, never any fucking skunk in them, all that bullshit. If you didn't have your skunks on the market in 2020 or before 2020, you got them off me. Fucking end of. Because no one had what I've got, and now it's suddenly popping up everywhere. That fucking stupid old cunt who owns Skunk Magazine, fucking with her bullshit in Canada. Loads of cunts coming out now with skunk, all from me. Looks like mine, smells like mine. Not just that, all the fucking terp profiles we're seeing that we never saw before, fucking a few years back, that all come up from my shit. They're fucking clear to see. So many people, thousands of people using my genetics and not giving credit. Not only that, then there's fucking hundreds or thousands that have just fucking snitched up my accounts over the fucking years, you know, or reported posts just because they fucking been blocked by me or something like that on previous accounts, you know. So yeah, people who think fucking Instagram is great, if you're just some bums selling some fucking cookie s ones or whatever, then yeah, you're not going to come under any fire. But if you're fucking bringing serious fucking next level genetics, completely unrelated to the bullshit these twats have been fucking around for the last 20 years, then you're going to come under serious fire, because it's all about fucking money in this fucking industry. All that anybody in the seed game is interested in is taking your money, and as much of it as possible. That's a fucking fact.
That's a
None of them.
fact. That's a fact. I lost 2 accounts last week. Pretty much every day I got to wake up and at least one of my alt accounts, or this main one that we were talking about earlier, I got to like repeal or whatever you call it, send something to be reviewed again because it's not what the person's saying it is. That type of stuff.
Yeah, yeah, just reported posts and shit. Yeah. Yeah, it's just the only tactic these spineless, weak, skunkless, fucking pussyholes have got to employ against people with serious genetics. They cannot compete with me on any fucking level other than snitching up my Instagram accounts. They're the fucking weakest fucking faggots on earth.
Can I ask you some questions about the skunk and like Old Timer One and the
Yeah,
forums over
sure,
there
that's
and stuff?
whatever you want.
I just that stuff I think it was fascinating when I started to listen to some of your other shows. So the skunk that you're talking about is some seed stock that you got passed to you direct from Old Timer One himself.
Some of it is, some of it isn't. Some it's all from Old Timer One, but like for example, the Lot 5, which a lot of my stuff originated from, that was bought directly from Old Timer One stock when he put it up for on the UK 420 auction to raise money for the server costs. So I got that then. Then he went to an expo somewhere and gave some of the moderators some ESB haze. Some of them tried to change the story since to muddy the waters. But I know fucking the owner of that site, Jules. Jules, if you're listening, or if anybody wants to hit up fucking Jules, who owns UK 420, where that bullshit denouncing Blue Skies Vienna fucking Fred is, Jules can come on this show anytime you fucking want and fucking see if I'm talking shit. All right? So, Jules, I've been to your fucking house, sold you fucking hash. You know exactly who I am. You know I ain't bullshit. And them seeds come from fucking Old Timer One, and it's ESB Hayes, not whatever fucking bullshit that cocksucker moderator Bish has said since. So, anyway, the moderators that I knew on UK 420 that I met in person passed on some of those ESB Hayes seeds to me. And that's basically and I had some smile seeds I bought myself because they were just available to the public for anyone, and just some other little bits and bobs which we're Old Timer One genetics, but someone else had done some work with them. But yeah, so everything originates from Old Timer One. There's nothing else, and some of it directly from him and some from the moderators on UK 420. But you know, I've always said to all these retarded twats that have fucking said about these skunks or hazes didn't come from Old Timer One. Well, if they didn't, then fine. I must be a fucking G. Where the fuck did I get all these fucking amazing skunks and hazes that everybody across the world for the past 40 fucking years, every single day, has been posting? I did some incredible work to produce that on my own, didn't I? So yeah, if you don't want to say Old Timer One,
Right.
the originator of these genetics, fine by me. I'll take all the fucking credit. I am a fucking G, aren't I? I am the fucking man if I've done that.
I like that take on it. No, man, that's real. That's really thorough. Like that you just completely drew a little map for me, you know, in my imagination of,
Yeah, so ESB
how
Hayes,
that's
to
all
take it
connected.
further, and to get the fucking facts, regardless of what any other completely knowledgeless twat on Instagram or anywhere else has got to say, ESB Hayes was not extra special bud. It was fucking E from, which was his Nigerian, what he'd labeled as Nigerian. S was a fucking skunk, an early skunk, as in early from the fucking late 60s, fucking early 70s era. B was a blueberry, and the haze was obviously a fucking haze. So to begin with, he made ES, which was Nigerian, crossed the early skunk. Then he crossed it to blueberry, and then he crossed that to a haze. Now, I thought the Nigerian, to be honest, was shit. That's why I haven't got any Nigerian offerings. But when I F2'd everything and run fucking 500 seeds, I found the skunks, the blueberries, the hazes, and the Nigerians, which were the component parts. So if anybody to doubt that, you've got to be retarded. And yeah, the Nigerian, I didn't fucking rate, to be honest. And that's why I've now got loads of skunks, blueberries, and hazes. And then the lot 5 produced a load of other fucking what the alien side of things, you know, incredible shit from fucking all over the world. Basically, lot 5 was 4 African landrace sativas, in his words, pollinated by an indica male, which I'm guessing was probably an Afghan. So that's what that is. So there's a whole bunch of African land races in the mix, and skunks, hazes, blueberries, and all the other things I've found. There's literally not a terp profile that I haven't fucking found in breeding that I've done with his work. Because then I took certain things I selected from the ESB haze and the lot 5, and I bred those, and then I bred them again, and the fucking results from that has spawned every fucking terp profile known in existence, plus ones never fucking seen before. So I've been very blessed. I put it down to God. I could never have possibly fucking ever deliberately, in the work that I have done, created or expected to create all the myriad fucking things that my genetics have produced in the last 4 years. You know, those Pheno Hunter packs, Turp Town tickets, and the Boss pack. I mean, hundreds and hundreds of fucking totally unique and phenomenal fucking plants that come from them, which, you know, I can't take credit for. It can only be a blessing from God. Which is another thing that winds these fucking godless, satanic cocksuckers up. Fat shit cunts like fucking Matt Riot worshipping Baphomet, the fucking trans goat. You fucking losers.
Right, right. It's almost now worth breath, but yeah, we'll get to riot a little bit later. I'm actually blown away though by your like. Tell me about the UK 420 forum and like sort of like old timer, a little bit of old timer one's backstory. I think people that have disrespected you over here, understanding the cultural differences and knowing good and well what's going on, I think that essentially they're doing you a huge disservice. And what you've done is really commendable by proliferating out his work and defending it with that type of zeal. You know, I hope that my proteges one day can will be able to proliferate my stuff out and defend me with zeal like you've done him, you know?
But now it's increasingly weak generations. He might be lucky.
I've got some really good people working with me. You guys are all
Yes.
more than welcome to come over to my page and check it out and see who's sort of circled around me. A lot of the people that
Listen,
are
like, the
here.
reality is, I'm a super fucking friendly guy. I'm a very fucking good guy, if I say so my fucking self. No one who fucking knows me got a bad word to say about me. Nobody who's fucking dealt with me got a bad word to say about me. Nobody who's fucking grown my genetics has got a bad word to say about them. I'm just not going to put up with any shit from any fucking prick in this community talking against me, telling lies about me, defaming me, in any way going against me, or calling my words, actions, truth, character into any fucking question, because I don't like, because I don't need to. And that's the fucking end of it. So anybody who comes against me is getting it. I'm not going to fucking back down or kiss ass or say nothing to some fucking twat on a fucking computer somewhere, you know? Which is all these
I
bums
do.
are. They've
I
never
do
done a
know, and I
fucking
think that a
thing.
lot of people here are going to really appreciate those type of sentiments. I get DMs all the time, you know, that are encouraging in those type of regards. I even have contemporaries and other forms of American agriculture that are doing very similar types of influencing to me, just on, you know, larger scales or scales more niche to their particular sector.
Can you
It's going
imagine,
on.
for example, that if people like Kevin Jodrey and all his fucking circle, if they were truly the people they were and not just internet personas, little plants in the fucking community to be gatekeepers, if they were truly who they were, and if they had reacted how any truly about the plant person would to what I've done when I came on the fucking scene and told everybody about the gene pool that I've got and how it's available to you all to breed with and fucking do what you like with, just give me a little bit of credit, right? If they've been the people they purport to be on their bullshit YouTube channels and cock-sucking little fucking heavy days, sucking them off on the podcast, right? If they were really them people, then I would have been received from the fucking get-go with far better reception I have done, instead of jealousy and ego and fucking greed getting in the way of all these fucking pricks. If they'd been decent fucking people, then I wouldn't have had to show a fucking angry, defensive, aggressive side to my personality, you know? I'd be a fucking happy, chilled, hippie bitch like all them pretend to be. Do you know what I mean? If I'd
I
been the
do.
one. Understand?
Yeah, I
You
totally.
get what you get,
Yeah.
but you get it back triple or fucking more with me, you know?
Yeah, I do. It's respectable. You know, there's a lot of people over here in America that don't live by the same kind of codes some of the people that are at the forefront of the cannabis community do, or they're not part of those niche groups or cultures, you know? I'm not a deadhead. You know what I mean? I'm a guy from Tacoma. That's You can be from Tacoma and be a deadhead, but your average typical guy from Tacoma isn't, you know? Uh People get things twisted like that. Like you have to be something or one thing doesn't belong, you know, next to cannabis when cannabis is really for everybody. And it really has helped me a lot just to make friends like across cultural differences or across like that are into different hobbies, different forms of music, stuff like that. I mean, that's kind of it's a social lubricant in a lot of ways, you know?
100%.
And that's one thing that's really helped me is cannabis's ability just to be a social lubricant.
Yeah, I mean, it should be. I agree with a lot of the people when the more hippie types you say there shouldn't be all the drama and stuff there is surrounding it, and there shouldn't be. But the facts are, you know, cannabis is affording individuals who are pretty much unable to fit into other fucking normal parts of society opportunities to make a living by doing not too much other than fucking planting a seed and fucking spraying some silver on it, you know? So
Yeah, absolutely. And there's probably a parable of the deadhead up here. I used to work at a nursery for a company called Weyerhaeuser, right outside of a place called Rainbow Valley here. And it was like a big hippie retreat, concert, camping type of area. Then they would throw down pretty hard with all the things, you know, and cannabis being one of them, especially that sort of like right before me era of guys and their headier stashes and their headier varieties. Um, a hippie on the outside, you know, it's all love and acceptance and tie-dye and patchouli smells and everything might be free and everything is inviting. But if you know, if the little homies went to go score a sheet or two of acid from this place while it was actually functioning in real life, we would warn them, hey man, that is like the most often way any of us have ever got ripped off. You better be like checking it. You better be super careful in that parking lot. You better be on the lookout for federal agents. You know what I mean? Like this whole scenario is not great. And typically it's not great because that person you expected to be nice is actually a person there specifically to rip you off.
yeah. So what's currently prevalent in your mind about the cannabis community on Instagram at the moment? What you post a lot of, I suppose, quite critical things of certain people.
Yeah,
You made
absolutely.
me, I think that's what really you got me got me laughing about and invited you on the podcast. So I think you referred to the community of misfits. Was that the expression?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is. You know, it's like a pirate armada of misfits or something. You could draw all types of analogies, but because you know, because it's that group right now, like both globally and in America, that is coming from its roots being outlaw and like trying to find its way with regulation and legalization in places and sort of people are taking a look. It isn't just you guys over in England and the guys in Holland doing actual large scale breeding work and moving the plant's genome. Now people are beginning to come online over here. People aren't liking some of the directions things are going. Boy, there's a whole ton of stuff, you know, that we could talk about in that sector. I talk a lot on my page about just the Washington scene specifically because not a lot of people do. Um, Washington, you know, has a lot of different rules, situations than California. The home growing is cool here. The recreationally growing is cool here. The black market, no one is mad at here. And all three of those groups, at any event that you have, you will find major players in all three of those groups there, smoking with people, hanging out, having booze, all being social all together. And it's a really good time. The problem begins when you invite the Liquor Cannabis Control Board here, and then they bring in the regulations and the beer garden and the weird security and the music acts from out of town. Like these are, I don't know, it's starting to become like a rift here. It's been going on for quite some time and it's becoming more and more palpable each sort of season I watch the events sort of happen and unfold. Medical marijuana here is always under siege. It's been underground since the legalization happened. Shout out to all my people in medical, still out there fighting the good fight. Uh, they're good people, you know, and they make a lot of sacrifices. They give cheaply. They give real quality medicine from here, real cheaply to these guys that are sick, and sometimes it really helps people. And the least it does is ease their life as they transition into death. You know.
Yeah, 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 man. I respect those real medical pioneers and the people that are genuine caregivers and providing for patients genuinely, you know. Um, like like a guy called over here called Jeff Ditchfield, like Rick Simpson over there in America. They were the people to put themselves in or on the firing line for other people's sake, which they were probably used really by the establishment in many ways to get to where they wanted to be, which always was controlled regulated, taxed fucking mids by the looks of it.
Yeah, it's a very likely direction. You know, if I had a crystal ball and I was looking into it 5 or 10 years
I think
ago.
CBD was like a Trojan horse for fucking THC, you know, to bring everything else, soften everybody up, all the people that are against cannabis or fucking old people that have fallen fucking the decades and decades of propaganda. To reverse that, they had to then bring in the softer, kinder CBD, which is good for everybody and don't get you stoned. And then on the back of that, yeah, I think they just softened attitudes in society generally and where they needed to be. And then, yeah, they brought in what they're doing now, rolling everything out across the world.
Yeah, on a national level here, that exchange and interplay is even reflected in the laws, and what we've seen with the distribution of CBD products, like through the mail, for instance, over here, domestically, and THCA products through the mail then after that, and both of those sort of falling under the hemp bill, which is a national level piece of legalization or legislation that, you know, is involved with hemp and all things not THC and cannabis. But you know how the cannabis plant is, it's not quite that simple, you know.
Well, I think ultimately they're going to try and probably legalize everything. So, yeah, I think they made cannabis the true gateway drug in that way, you know?
Oh, that might be one thing about California and Washington. So Washington just recently accidentally legalized everything for about a 9-month period and then put it back on the books. We're real critical of our constitution at the state level here and how it applies, being one of the latter states, and being a state that sort of had an Indian war going on, and just 3 people ago, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
It's those type of things are really prevalent in people's minds here. So down in California, like currently all of the drugs are illegal and whatnot here, right? And cannabis is regulated as we sit here talking today.
Yeah.
In California, you can have 7 grams of methamphetamine or 7 grams of heroin in your pocket, and it's only a misdemeanor. And the last time I was down there in California doing time, it had completely changed their system. I mean, it was completely different doing time down there because of all these guys and this whole situation that they had going on the streets.
Yeah, American prisons don't, or jails, whatever you call them, don't look too much fun to me, I gotta say.
And they on the West Coast, they are nasty. California's penal system is the nastiest. It's the most racial. Um, it's all the things. Washington is a little bit behind that, thankfully, in just like outward militant group racism. It's not as outwardly expressed. I mean, you're in America, so this is the great experiment, right? I mean, we would be unrealistic to deny that, you know, Americans left the UK and kind of started on a project after we had our little dispute or whatever, and we parted ways as countries, you know. Like everyone here it's a melting pot, they say, and the great experiment where people are going to govern themselves and mix all together freely, you know. And there are groups of people here that even in this modern day and age that are not happy about that still, you know, and they wouldn't want like that type of experiment to succeed, or they would want to return, you know, to the days of plantation ownership. I tend to have quite a lot to say about those type of guys. You know, they're American citizens and deserve to be here, and I appreciate their opinion. But like any good town hall meeting, we're all going to listen to Crazy Rick, and then we're going to say thanks, Crazy Rick, and then we're going to do some other shit. You know what I mean? Like that's the beauty of democracy. You know?
Yeah, racism's pretty stupid to be divided against each other. Pretty fucking stupid.
Yeah, it's really unwise in a time where the cannabis community in America and globally is looking at like upward mobility essentially, and the supply chain being completed for the first time in a more correct functional way. And I think that guys wanting to hold on to stuff in the wrong ways, it like feelings and emotions that they've carried over from the past that maybe aren't really jiving with the kids of this current era. Like sometimes guys sort of age out of hobbies, and become sort of, what do they call that? Like armchair veterans. and then that's, they can be the loudest voice in a hobby or an industry online. That they can be if allowed, and I've seen that happen with other things. There are a lot of hobbies out there that have online cultures of toxicity far above ours, and there are some that are moving a little bit more cleaner. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't necessarily see so much of what you see, because I'm just over here and it's a different country, and you're more, I guess, aware of people like that over there,
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't pay attention to too many people on Instagram, and see what they're doing as such. I mean, most of the well-known people are blocked off my accounts because they're fucking idiots, and I've got no interest in what they're doing. So I don't really see like that part of the community too much. Like people tell me, not even just the racist side, just like everybody. I don't know what any fucker's doing really these days. I don't pay attention. I don't give the slightest fuck, honestly, about so and so's latest fucking breeding project. The latest chemical
Right.
sour or some bullshit. All that
Yeah.
shit is past. These times of these fucking, these established fucking figures in the community with their fucking elite cuts or their clone onlys or all this, it means nothing to me. Nothing to me. I wouldn't trade what I have to anybody, which is why I've never traded.
Right.
So I just don't pay attention to the community as such, as it's generally known by most people. All the well-known figures. I don't look at no one's shit. I don't follow no one.
People hold on to things of value.
I
And
only
people
follow people,
and
really. I only pay attention to people who's growing my stuff. In all honesty, right? If
Yeah.
if if you're not growing my stuff, I'm not really that fucking interested in what you're doing. I just got to say that, to be honest. Not like in every case, but like, yeah, it's just true. I'm not that interested in people doing. I'm not interested in people doing autoflowers in the slightest. I'm not really interested in people's latest fucking feminized line. I'm not interested in fucking really anything made with any genetics of this last 25 years, really. That's just not where my interests lie. I'm about the pre-2000 old school 60s, 70s, and 80s gene pool, really,
Yeah, man. I mean, people hold on to stuff that's valuable, and people sell things that they think other people perceive as valuable. Those are two different things. Sometimes they overlap. A lot of times they don't. And I think people in America have that fucked up all day, every day. Whereas you've protected something that was passed to you that was valuable. A lot of guys out here are just spraying and praying. They're chucking and fucking.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not here to just like talk shit on the entire community. That's never been what I wanted to do. I would much rather have had a fucking more, I don't know, friendly relationship with the majority of the community than I've had. It would have been easier, I guess. But it's not come from me. All I've done is said, right, I've got this gene pool that comes from Old Timer One. Old Timer One contributed to genetics to the development of the first skunks. He has all the fucking early hazes that never went to Holland. He collected heirlooms from every single fucking country on earth where cannabis was ever originating from. He did fucking great selections and breeding with them. He encapsulated literally the best of the pre-eradication era from all over the fucking earth, as I said. And I've been lucky enough to obtain that gene pool. Not only that, to work with it and to rediscover things that he lost. He hasn't got the skunks in the same way as I have. And when I used to talk to him before he died, and I showed it, he talked to me about his lab. I was telling him about hazes that I'd found. I was showing him pictures. And then he said to me one time, oh, it's a shame you never had the lavender haze that was like nearly white. and or pale. And I was like, I did have your lavender haze. I did find your lavender haze, and then I showed him pictures of it, completely unique lavender colored, sort of like spear shaped haze flowers. And he's like, yeah, that's my fucking lavender haze. So I had things even he had lost, you know. I rediscovered. So yeah, I'm very, very fucking lucky, blessed to have the gene pool that I've got. And as I say, yeah, I actually have done a lot with it over the years, one way or another. But ultimately, it all originates from his work. You know, if I hadn't
Yeah.
had those set of seeds from him, I wouldn't have what I got now. So simple. He is the one to give credit to, really.
The saying for the younger growers to remember is we stand on the shoulders of giants, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And
I mean,
there's a cycle to life. And
I
there's a
would never even be
certain
heard of. No one would have a fucking clue who I was if I didn't have that gene pool. I would not be the next fucking cookie cross glue guy. Do you know what I mean?
right.
I would just be unknown. It's purely because I realised how special what I've got is compared to everything else that's really available at that time. That's why I've brought these genetics out to everybody, you know. And obviously because I discovered the skunk that was fucking gone. And
I've
regardless of what they
purchased,
say,
man, I've purchased $500 packs of fake skunk from guys like Matt Riot. I know the burn. You know what I mean? And guys, there's a subset of group of guys a little bit older than me in America that is about ready to accept that it's completely gone, even after 10 years of searching.
well, they've probably got to
It's
really
pretty
look at my
interesting.
Instagram account or follow a few, look at a few fucking episodes we've recorded here.
Well, I think that a lot of people talk bad on you, and they
You
shouldn't,
think?
you know. And I think that affects
One
that
or
quite a bit.
two.
Yeah. Well, hopefully our discussions and interactions will kind of change that tone, because I think how would you guys say it? A bloody good bloke, right? Something like that. It just you
Yeah,
teach me the English lingo. I think
yeah,
that you're
yeah.
a decent
That'll
fella.
do.
I think that you're. I
I'll
think that
take
you're a
that one.
decent. I think that you're a decent fella that has just got a bad reputation over here from being kind of poisoned by these guys that are selling wannabe skunks. Essentially, I've got a lot of questions because, like, you know how we
I
talked
can
about
tell
me
you
with.
from day one how it started, right?
Mhm.
I can tell you from day one where all the fucking shit talking faggots originated from, yeah? Right. So 2016, I just rediscover skunk, yeah, for whatever reason, however reason. That's what happens. 2016, I rediscover skunk. 2017, I preserve it and make some seeds with these skunks and other things from Old Timer One. 2017, I then nearly get fucking killed in the forest fire. I get given 2 hours to live, 6 week coma, 75% third degree burns, year in hospital, all that shit. Then, just before I'm due out of hospital, this filthy degenerate known as Farmer Joe 420, I think he's called Thomas Zip from Michigan. He is a piece of filth. He is a piece of filth. May God forgive him for being such a cunt. So this guy is while I'm in hospital, you know, on heavy sedation and shit. He's hitting me up. I'll run an auction for you, this, that, and the other on our forum. So I was part of a private forum called the Connoisseur Community. Bodhi was on there, CSI was on there, a whole bunch of other people that's well known in the community, plus some less known people, just regular people, but only limited to 100 people at any one time on this private forum. So Bodhi could testify to all of this if he's ever to fucking say a peep. I used to speak to him all the fucking time in DMs every week when he logged on that private forum, and we were quite fucking friendly. We exchanged genetics. So
Plant more
when I'm in
seeds, Bodhi. We have a couple Bodhies over here now.
not fucking purple, pink, green, and orange Bodhi, real Bodhi. Fucking not
Just for
all
the
them
listeners, I
cunts.
wanted to clarify that. I knew
Fucking
who you were
rainbow
talking about.
Bodhi. No,
I
Bodhi,
knew
the
who you were
real
talking about.
Bodhi. Plant more seeds. the real guy.
Mhm.
The only
Yeah.
breeder, which even though I don't respect the way he's kept his mouth absolutely fucking shut on all things Blue Skies Vienna, where we were fucking pretty good friends back then, I still, in regards to his work, Bodhi's my favourite guy. He's the most like me in how we work with plants, I would say, of the people that I know.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so yeah, Bodhi's fucking cool. I like Bodhi, I'm not gonna lie. Even though I haven't spoke to him in fucking ages, even though he hasn't ever fucking, as I say, piped up or anything, even though he's received my fucking genetics from me in the past, I got no ill will towards Bodhi. I like the guy, I like his work, I respect him. So
Yeah, everyone always says really nice
anyway, let's
stuff
get
about
back
him.
to this fucking piece of shit, fucking Farmer Joe 420, right? A complete junkie degenerate from wherever he's from. He fools me into foolishly sending him some fucking seeds, right? As a thank you for actually stealing half the money that he fucking raised. Yeah, he pretended Instagram shut down the account. Not Instagram, fucking PayPal shut his account with absolutely zero proof or evidence of this, and he claimed half the fucking money he raised anyway. So that aside, I foolishly sent the guy some seeds, yeah. Then he hits me up. Oh fucking, they haven't germinated. Probably smacked out of his fucking tits on fuck knows what, some opiate fucking based thing, and he can't even germinate seeds. So I'm like in a fucking, because I haven't tested these seeds at that point because I've been in fucking hospital, dead practically, and so I put these seeds into germ, and I get fucking germination within 4.5 hours. Yeah, they've cracked in 4.5 hours. So I'm like, but what this fucking degenerate did was, as soon as he'd fucking as soon as he'd received my seeds, you know what this fucking piece of shit did? He posted on the forum, the private forum, oh, I've got this roadkill skunk. I'm gonna fucking share it with everybody. I'm gonna give it to Matt Riot. I'm gonna give it to fucking Kevin Jodry. He was never going to share with us. So this is the level of degenerate we're talking about, right? So, so by some act of God, basically, this fucking retard, Farmer Joe 420, fails to fucking germinate the seeds and starts crying that I must have microwaved them before sending them to him. So the complete, imagine being this level of spastic, right? He's fucking got seeds off me through fucking deceptive means. Then, as soon as he gets them, he puts them in a paper towel, takes a picture of them, and tells everybody he's going to fuck me. Then he fails to germinate them legitimately. And so then that causes the owner of the site to say, Joe, you're a fucking piece of shit. That's the guy who's, that's his only thing that he's got after losing everything in the fire. And you were going to you're a fucking junky piece of shit, basically. So he throws him off the site. And that creates a big fucking. Then after Joe gets kicked off the site, a lot of these other goofies that were on there too took his side because they were gutted. They weren't going to get no skunk. And if they just had a little bit of patience to given me a few months to start doing my work, which I then went on to do, they would have been the first people to receive the skunk. So as it turns out, the forum actually collapses because a lot of people fucking just go off. And then when I joined Instagram, that ex-forum little group were like a ready-made waiting army of trolls to talk shit about me as soon as I made my first post on Instagram. Because they'd spent years telling me, don't go on Instagram, I was full of cunts. So like, I was one of them people that was hidden in the background.
Poisoning the well. They spent years poisoning the well over here for you too.
Yeah,
and how people would look at you. And I don't think that's the type of stuff that happened when I was serving time in prison over the plant. I don't think that's right.
Well, so yeah.
How dare they do that type of stuff? It's just incorrigible.
Well, it's just these low-level fucking people, what they are. So then, as I said, I came on Instagram, had a waiting army of trolls already. Then one day, early on, Matt Riot pipes his fat fucking mouth up, said something to me. I said, shut your mouth, Riot, you fat skunkless shit. And he immediately blocked me and then went on a big campaign himself talking shit against me, So, and then obviously he's got a little group of, I don't know who his little fucking group of bums are, to be honest. Not So Dog has run his mouth about me as a result of Riot, and I don't even know this little fucking goofy crew.
Riot really likes to poison the water with people. If you ask Riot about me, I'm a lunatic. He won't tell you the truth.
Fucking little.
He won't tell you the truth that I tried to be friends with him for a couple of years, and it didn't work out well. He won't tell you the truth He won't tell you who the people around him are, that they're sort of a, a gathering of internet trolls and moderators and low-level growers from places, all sort of under the guise that, you know, some of the other larger names that you were mentioning earlier and other people that, you know, have legitimate gardens or legitimately on forums and nice guys, under the guise that they are both in there and talking all the time and they're friends with him and he's respected by the most respected people in cannabis. That's all not true, you know? Like he pays people to go to those parties, those P. Diddy-esque parties that he throws. I've given him money to throw those parties before, being his friend and not quite understanding exactly what the dynamic is. That's the kind of stuff I got to live with just even being around these guys over here, man. It's not the funnest trip actually being close to them. You just get a taste of how nasty they are. Like I get to bump into them at events and stuff. It can be pretty not fun, you know?
Matt just seems like a dweeb who's memorized the fucking histories or made his version of the histories that he's memorized of, you know, a few well-known fucking things like Sour D and Chems and all that shit, and just parrots them relentlessly like he's some kind of fucking encyclopedia of cannabis history. And it fools the newbies, I think, you know?
Absolutely. Can I ask you a couple questions about some of the stuff real quick that you pull out of your skunk? Because I ran his pack of fake skunk and got a cat piss. That's something that that's a type of expression or a way to describe a type of expression that could come from an old skunk type variety. Is that correct?
Yeah, there's lots of cat piss comes out in my tipped and tickets packs, especially. Yeah, but I've got everything: cat piss, dog shit, skunk spray, anything you fucking care to name is in my packs.
Oh man, it's hard to get
Found
things
and
that are gross.
confirmed. Found
It's
and confirmed.
hard to
Every
get things
fucking
over here right now that are gross and good. They're very coveted, my friend. The American scene is a lot of candy and a lot of
Bro,
gas.
I tell you, I've put
Yep.
out well in excess of 100,000 seeds in the last 4 years. Yeah. And I've seen like 5 to 15% maximum of people ever fucking put them online. So where do you think the other 85% of people are? And where do you think all these skunks that suddenly fucking appearing have come from? Yeah. 9,000 fucking people almost, I would say now. That's roughly the customer base of the last 4 years, about over 9,000 people, and between them, or they've had from me, whether paid or free, fucking over 100,000. I stopped cutting, and that was fucking months and months back. Probably like 120, approaching 150,000 seeds now have been put out into the wider world by myself. Yeah. So where do you think all this fucking subtly foul stuff comes from? Where do you think all the proliferation of blueberry shit you see all over the place came from? Because my blueberry is absolutely the best blueberry you can find. Everybody growing my blueberry says that. This is the most blueberry of all blueberries, yeah? You know, props to fucking DJ Short for being the progenitor of it all. But I think Old Timer One and Vic High did better work and improved his, and that is what my fucking blueberry comes from, the work of Old Timer One and Vic High.
That's
So
interesting. I mean, the name Mr. J in that account actually is a result of the first time I met DJ Short physically in person.
cool.
Yeah, I went by the real Dr. Green Thumb then, and he was really rude about that and sort of sassed me and rolled his eyes. We were on like a Seattle Hemp Fest. They called them hemposiums. And Ed had watched our interaction and how I told him what was what and gave him what for, like a good fellow should, you know.
Was he walking around looking like Willy Wonka? Because I haven't seen the guy.
Yeah, and I did the thing. I did the young guy thing. I was like, "Hey, man, I'm young, but I know enough to know that older guys than you had cannabis that smelled like blueberries. You're nothing special. You know what I mean? How dare you roll your eyes when they announced my stupid little screen name? Who cares about computers? I had to pick something, or you idiots would be dumb. I was like, what, do you want me to wear a costume? Should I wear fake dreads? You know, that type of that
Yeah.
type of exchange. And he was pretty like aghast that a person would even do that to him. And of course, Rosenthal thought that was rather humorous at the time. And him and Jane offered me a gig doing some working with them and stuff. I didn't even talk about my book or any of that stuff. You're listening. We just got right into the nitty gritty, man.
Do you want
I
to tell
love it.
us about your book? Do you want to make your book known to the audience?
Well, at this point, there's only like 23 or 20 copies or so in the warehouse, and those are going to be essentially collector's editions, and people will probably come up to me and have me sign them for them and stuff over the next few years, and I'll be releasing a second edition. So within the year, the reprint of Homegrown Marijuana should come out, and it's just a book by me about how to grow cannabis in your house. I originally wrote it inside a prison the first time when I was doing that first big bid I was telling you about. I didn't have a lot to do, you know, and so sitting in a cell, I like to write, and I just kind of busted it out. I started working for a college that it had a horticulture program. We sort of wrote some syllabus for the college horticulture program, sort of a hydroponics 101 and 110, and that required a lot more actual like written word and stuff to effectively be a syllabus and be ratified and checked as that. So the body of work at that point in time became 2 separate classes on hydroponics for college level introductory courses. So they were not like completely tallied towards being inside of the home at that point. And then that body of work, the college kind of gave to me, sort of on my last day of work. The professor came up to me that I was working for and was like, you know, you're writing in your book and stuff. We all have been talking about it for a while, and we want everyone here at the college, like, we really appreciate you and we want you to have it, you know.
Nice.
And to go forward with. I thought it was really kind gesture too. I'd worked really hard for them for really low pay and just like really loved gardening and the students and stuff. That point in my life was it was really little golden period, you know, I had with them and that. And then the book at that point, you know, I got into talks with Quarto, with Quarto Homes. Quarto is a big book publisher in Holland. They're the biggest in the world on the square side of things. So my book was the first DIY cannabis grow book like that to be published by a major publisher. Ed does his stuff independent, sort of in a small publishing company that he owns himself. It's sort of in-house called QuickTime. It's a great little operation, and I have no problem with both formats or styles of doing things. It was just like I had a major contract, you know, which is a thing that until me had not happened. It broke a glass ceiling for a lot of other people too, especially people in Washington, to get deals with Quarto and put out, you know, coffee table books with beautiful pictures of cannabis, other types of books referring to cannabis. People are a lot more accepting now after that period of time. So when the second copy comes out, anyone wanting to learn how to grow, highly recommend you pick it up. It's informative. It's got angles that other grow books don't have. I've broke down things like figuring out what a label is backwards, reverse engineering labels. I've broke down things like how to make your own nutrient solution out of component parts and how to make it work effectively, how to map that all out on an outline, how to chart it well, what real-time data looks like, a lot of stuff that's not really in grow books. You know what I mean? But should have been all along.
Sounds good, man.
Yeah, and if you want to try to run into me and have me sign your old copy because you have every first edition book or whatever, then, you know, go right ahead and grab an old one, man. But it's pretty dated right now. I wrote it inside a prison in 2012. It's all techniques just from regular horticulture and from my growing and from how we grow here in the Pacific Northwest. Inside, like a lot of guys do hydroponics, a lot of guys do organics, and a lot of guys do hydroponics. The Homegrown Marijuana book is specifically geared towards hydroponics in your home, but it's written in a format where you could fertigate and use soil or any type of a medium. You know what I mean? I mean, you know how gardening works, essentially, you know. So
in that 4 years, I wondering, did you see any fucking crazy shit in those prisons?
Yeah, man. Yeah. With
Fuck.
as one thing I want to say is, as people who grow, once I got down to the medium level security levels,